Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel. It is time again to prepare my weekly pages for the coming week, March 15 to 21, 2021. It is a Friday afternoon as I am filming this video, March 12, and I just want to show that I sometimes have to do this with a notebook, open it and fold it backwards. This is because at this point in using this notebook, I have noticed that the part on the left side of the notebook that is near the spine is already bulked up. That is caused by all of the washi tape that I have laid down here in the past pages. I put washi tapes on all of my weekly pages and almost all of my tracking pages, as you can see, and you will see all of the washi tape that I have used in my Plan With Me videos, and the playlist for that will be linked in the description box. On the right side, however, there is nothing, so it's still completely flat. This notebook, by the way, I made myself and I call it the Unplanned Life Notebook. It has its own Facebook page, which I will link down below. This is an A5 notebook and the inside pages are Elias paper, which is made specially for fountain pens. It is manufactured in the Philippines. I have a video comparing Elias paper and the Midori MD paper on my channel, and I will link it in the description box. The notebook has a fabric spine. That is why I can bend it backwards without hurting it at all. I also have videos of this notebook in my channel, which I will also link below. Anyway, to prepare my weekly pages, I always start by folding down the center sheet in half, like so, running a pencil line down the center of the other pages, and then placing a tab on the section. For the washi tape, let me show you this set of 3 washi tapes with arrows on them. You have already seen me use this light blue one in a previous Plan With Me video. And between the pink and the dark blue, I am drawn more to the blue one because it has blue foiling, whereas the pink has gold foiling, and I have already used a lot of gold foiled washi tapes before in my previous Plan With Me videos. By the way, I am sure I have mentioned this before, but I only ever really use 5mm washi tapes because the only thing I use washi tapes for really is to delineate the days of the week on my weekly pages. And I started out with 3mm washi tape and they worked just fine, but they were too thin. I have used one in my very first Plan With Me video and I will link it down below. I will also share the link to the playlist of my Plan With Me videos in the description box like I mentioned earlier. And I also use the same 5mm washi tapes to create a border around my tracking pages and around my monthly calendars. Okay, now that all of the washi tape has been laid down, it is time to take out my pre-printed date headers and timestamps. These, by the way, are printed also on Elias paper, the same paper that I used to make the notebook. This way, the pasted on date headers and timestamps will look more seamless when it comes to color and texture. Of course, the pasted on elements will look like they are pasted on, but that's fine with me. I place more importance that visually they should look like they have been cut from the same paper, literally. That is all that I am after. And while I was doing this step, the power went out. Gosh. So I just turned on my rechargeable lamp with a warm light and opened all of the curtains, and then I carried on with the planning. These unscheduled power outages are happening more and more often. It's not just annoying, it is also an impediment to productivity because we need power for our computers and for the Wi-Fi router. Granted, I use a laptop, but that has only about 2 to 3 hours of battery life left because it's 3 years old by now. And speaking of said laptop, here it is, my 15-inch MacBook Pro in space gray that contains the file that keeps all of the milestones of my friends and family. I checked that file and wrote down people's birthdays on the appropriate days. The ink that I'm using for this is Robert Oster Marine. I think it is a good match to the washi tape. By the way, like I mentioned, I am filming this on the late afternoon of Friday, March 12th. And finally, the actual planning can begin. I always look through my task list for the current or previous week, decide what I can still potentially accomplish for the rest of that week, and move over the other tasks and items to the incoming week, on specifically on the task list of the incoming week. I also check my monthly calendar where I have scribbled down some reminders and schedules and holidays and some bills due. By the time the week of March 15 to 21 begins, I shall already have submitted my thesis proposal to my critic, which she will read and give feedback on. She will also be using that same document to invite the professor that we want to become my advisor. My critic will be doing the convincing, but my critic first has to be convinced. My critic has actually been with me since around October 2013 when I first started in the comparative literature program, and she was my teacher for my research course. So she had seen the evolution of my idea and my framework, and she eventually became my critic and has been doing the work with me for the past couple of years. Now it's finally approaching its most logical conclusion, and I am both excited and tense. I know there's a lot of work to do, and that gives me even more motivation to plan. The thesis proposal, by the way, will be chapter 1 of the full thesis, but the thesis proposal has to be defended before a panel, and it has to be approved by the panel and revised according to the recommendations of the panel before I can proceed with working on the full thesis. The full thesis also has to be defended. So I have left practically the entire week of March 15 to 21 open, because after submitting the thesis proposal, I have to continue working on chapter 2. I need to be free to work on my thesis as needed, and everything else can just fall in between. But maybe I will take a break pending the feedback of my critic. I don't know. But precisely because I am not sure, I have left everything open and just listed down the possible tasks on the weekly task list, which is the leftmost column on the first spread, the one that you can see with a long list in it. Now there is a smudge right here from the glue that I used on the tab, and it is annoying me. When this happens, I just use the dust-free eraser to rub off the gunk. And I also ended up transferring a couple of tasks and items higher up on the list, so they will be further away from the remaining smudge when I am rubbing on it. And the weekly pages are pretty much done at this point, although of course that smudge is still creeping me out, so I waited a little bit for the gunk to dry and rubbed it out even more with a dust-free eraser. I have a video about this eraser on my channel, and I will link it below. And finally, one last note about the washi tape. I know it looks like foiling at first, but at certain angles and under different lighting, it looks holographic. Is it holographic? Or should we call it iridescent? I'm always very careful in calling something holographic because I don't want to call something what it isn't, and besides, Simply Nailogical might come after me. Just kidding, she doesn't even know that I exist, but I think she is just awesome. Well, anyway, that is my video for you today. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!